Hello friends and welcome. My name is Britt and today we're going to be doing the art in my planner for the month of May. And I use this A6 Hobonichi as my planner and my personal journal. I decided on a spring theme, so I'm going to be drawing a rabbit, and I am using these water-based Tombow markers just for a base layer. If you've seen any of my other videos, this is a style that I really enjoy doing right now, so I'll use either marker or watercolor to do a background color layer, and then I'll use colored pencil or some kind of pastels over the top of it. I was trying to think of something that was springy, and I even Googled like spring symbolism. And of course I got a bunch of Easter stuff, so I thought, why not draw a rabbit? So I just Googled a reference photo, and I found this one that I liked of a rabbit kind of laying down in a grassy field, so that is what I chose for this month. So I cut this part out because it's kind of repetitive, but the first thing that I did was bring in a very light color. So I used the neon pink, and I kind of planned out where I wanted my line work to be. And then that way it's so light that if I make a mistake, I can correct it a little bit later. So now, once I was happy with where the lines were, I'm using this darker fuchsia color to actually make the lines of the artwork. This video is sped up ×2 because this takes me a really long time to do. I move really slowly and I stop and think about things a lot, so for your viewing pleasure, it has been sped up. I know I said previously that I wanted to try to not speed my videos up because some people find it more relaxing if it's just normal speed, but the amount of cutting and editing that I would need to do that would just I don't know, triple my editing time, and I just can't. So maybe in the future I'll be able to do that, but right now with just me doing everything myself, I have to speed it up. Otherwise I won't be able to make these videos. So forgive me if you're one of those people that doesn't like things sped up. I'm doing my best over here. So you can see that I've now moved to a darker color. I believe this one is Tuscan red, so it's like a deep brownish maroon color. And oh, I forgot to say at the beginning, if you want to know what any of these materials are, they're all going to be linked in the description box. And if I get around to it, I'll also link what colors of color pencil and marker I'm using in case you want to know specifics about them. And these are Prismacolor Scholar. They're my favorite colored pencils because they're nice and soft and buttery, and they are wax-based. Anywho, I'm going from lightest to darkest. I've just through trial and error found that that's the best way for me to do things. So for the line work, I went from neon as my practice run, then the fuchsia, and then I came in with the darker color. And I kind of did a little bit of stylization on this rabbit, so I put little dashes to indicate fur in the areas where the rabbit was darker on the reference photo. And now I'm adding back in some of this neon pink in the areas that are lighter in the reference photo. I must put neon on everything right now. It is making my eyes happy. So I can't make anything without adding a little bit of neon to it these days. I use black for the eyeball, and now I must add my favorite chartreuse in as well for some highlights. Okay, and now the finishing touches on the rabbit part is just putting a little bit more of the darks back in with that dark maroon color. And then in a second, I will move on to the foliage in the background. So I will be using 3 colors of green in the background. I like to have 3 tones of everything, so I have some options. So this is the darkest green, like an olivey, darker green. Then I'll have a mid-tone green, I think it's permanent green, and then I'll use that same chartreuse as my lightest color in the foliage for the highlights. And when I'm doing foliage in this very scribbly stylized method, this is where I will actually move my hand a lot faster. I don't want to think about it too much because then it will turn out looking too tight, and I don't want that. I am also tying together the rabbit and the background by adding a little bit of that fuchsia in the background, just a couple dots sort of to indicate maybe there's flowers there or something. This is not really a tutorial of how to do this. I'm just describing what I did, but I don't have an art degree. I am completely self-taught, so I either just learned from trial and error, or I learned by watching artists on YouTube and taking their tips on what to do. So my point is, if you copy me, go ahead, but I might not exactly know what I'm doing all the time. All right, to finish up the background, what I'm doing is kind of filling in the white just around the rabbit, and I'm adding a little bit more blue there just to make the rabbit pop out a little bit more, emphasize him as the centerpiece of the drawing. Now I'm just gonna decorate this little strip of paper with the same foliage, and that's gonna go in the monthly calendar section of the Hobonichi. That is very, very small in this A6 size of planner, so it's just this teeny little space for decoration. So this will be my main source of decoration on that calendar page. Now that we're about halfway through the video, this is your reminder to hit that like button and leave a comment if you're enjoying yourself. Those are the things that help out my little baby channel the most. So if you want to support me, those are two great things that you can do. For your comment, let me know what your favorite spring activity is. I know it's only spring in the Northern Hemisphere right now, but everybody can answer. We'll just talk about spring generically. So, if you live in a place that's cold in the wintertime and now it's finally maybe starting to get a little bit warmer and you're able to do things, what's some of your favorite things that you do in the springtime? I live in California, so the spring and the winter aren't that much different, but Northern California, the rainy season is wintertime, so now that the rain is pretty much stopped, everything is actually green for maybe like a couple of weeks of the year when we actually get like nice rolling fields of green grass before everything turns brown. So it's nice to go out and walk and take in that landscape since it only lasts for a very short amount of time every year. And also it is wildflower season in California too, which is also very short-lived. Okay, so you see here I have pasted that little strip in, and instead of putting the title at the top, I'm going to be putting it at the bottom in this little extra space. And I'm just using that same fuchsia color. So this is where I start to lose the thread of what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm trying to make this foliage and I'm not understanding why it doesn't look right. And part of the reason it looks different is that I used colored pencil paper for the other drawings, but mainly it's because I forgot to put the marker down first. So I'm just adding more colored pencil and trying to make it look right, and it's starting to get a little bit too messy. So to fix it, I just wrote May on another piece of paper and cut it out, and I'm gluing it in, and that makes it look a little cleaner and fixes things up a little bit. now I'm putting in the days of the week at the top of the calendar. I whited out the title at the top with a acrylic paint pen earlier on, and I'm just using my little circle washi tape stickers with some gel pen on it with the initial of the day of the week. And I like this because I think it makes it look a little bit better, more aesthetic. And then I will also be using these circle stickers to mark the days that I will be releasing YouTube videos. So I'll use a circle sticker on each Friday here, and then I will use a permanent pen to just draw a little YouTube logo on it. And the reason I do it like this is because I cannot be trusted to be consistent. So if I need to move around when I'm releasing a video, this is on a sticker, it's not written on the paper, so I can just peel it up and stick it on a different day. And that is the monthly calendar page done. Now I'm going to move on to the daily page section, and that's where there's this little blank spot at the beginning of the month, and I will be pasting in my rabbit illustration right here. And I've learned my lesson from previous mistakes, so I like to now do any drawings on a piece of paper and stick it in, and that way if I mess it up, I can just redo it. When I'm setting up my months in this particular planner, I like to put in the national holidays, but also a few kind of wacky holidays. For example, in May, there's Space Day and Hamburger Day, things like that. I also like to add on the first of the month if it's a specific month that's celebrating something. So for May, it is AAPI Heritage Month. AAPI is for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander, I believe. And then it's also Jewish American Heritage Month. So I like to just have that as a reminder at the beginning of each month because I also do reading content. So if I want to read anything that's related to those particular groups, that's a little reminder for myself. And in a second here, I'm going to remember that, oh, right, the reason things don't look the same is because I didn't put the marker on. So I am now back to where I'm supposed to be. But I am going to put this foliage in here, and then I'm also going to not like how it looks. So later on, I will do the same thing that I did with the May title, and I will rewrite these monthly names on a different piece of paper with that same pink ballpoint pen and paste it over the top to make it look a little bit neater. I do try to leave in as many mistakes as I can without making the video too long, just so you can see the process of how things went, and that people that make YouTube videos don't do things perfectly, and we make mistakes all the time too. And finally, to finish this little opening spread of the month up, I'm just adding a little bit more foliage down in this corner to balance things out because that foliage at the top was making this page look top heavy. And then the last thing I'm going to show you here is my final version of how I made the holidays look on all the pages. I'm only going to show you one. This is Cinco de Mayo. So I use a ballpoint pen. I just put a little bit on the edges, on the sides for the foliage. So I have finally learned restraint at this point. And that pretty much finishes things up for this May monthly setup in my planner. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all of you so much who watch my videos. I know that the internet is a crazy place and you could be spending your time on a bajillion different things other than this, so thank you for being here. I hope you'll join me next week for another video, and remember to take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! If you enjoyed this video, you might also like this one where I draw some poppies.